Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Christian Music Bros podcast with Brendan and Braden. Thank you for tuning in. I'm your host, Brendan, and Braden's not here today, but he wishes you're well. He's in the process of a few things. I don't know if I have the right to say it right now, but so just keep your Braden in your prayers and everything, and he'll join us here again soon. And today I'm with Cliff Preston, and so I'm gonna let Cliff introduce himself very quick.
Hey, I'm Cliff Preston. I'm from Smackover, Arkansas. I'm a singer and a songwriter and a pastor. And I'm so excited to be with you guys here today.
Thank you for joining us. And thank you for everyone who's tuning in and listening. This is our 85th episode of the Christian Music Bros podcast. We're almost at a
Oh
big
man,
number. So I don't want to say that number because I
we
know really age us.
we should have given away something, like it's giving away 85 of my songs or something like that.
But that would be copyright. Anyway, let's start diving in right away. Cliff, can you tell us a little bit about you and your music journey so far to this point?
Yeah, so I'm from Smackover, Arkansas. It's a small town in the bottom of Arkansas. In 2002, I started. I tell people all the time I accidentally started playing the guitar and I accidentally started a band. My brother needed a. My brother was a worship youth pastor and needed a band to fill in for somebody who had backed out. And I was like, I got a couple friends, um, and what happened was is somebody got us from that, and then the next person hired us to come in, the next person, and before you know it, we were doing a lot of different things and a lot of different concerts and shows. And at that point, man, it was just kind of it was something that was fun to do, but not anything that I ever thought that I could do on like what I'm doing now, where you could actually do it as for a living.
Mhm.
And man, probably about 2007 or 2008, I felt like, okay, this is something that God has created me for, and I needed to dig into it. So I started writing a ton, and that's really kind of what happened. Is a lot of people heard some songs and wanted to use them, and that was crazy to me. And then over the years, as many times happens with writers, you get to do your own stuff, and so I'm in a group called the Band Table, and then I just put out a solo record, and things have just been really well. I'll say this: God has been really kind over the last couple of years, and has blessed me to be able to do it again. I stopped doing it for about 4 or 5 years, well, recording records and things like that. And just recently, I was invited to a writer's retreat and kind of started everything over again. And so recording records and putting songs out and trying to honor the Lord as we do it.
You just brought up you just brought up your like debut solo album and everything. I actually have it. You don't see it because this is a virtual background. I'm sorry. I have a wall right here because I'm in my room and it's all my like signed CDs and you're on my wall. So
Yes,
yes,
awesome. I made it.
yes, yeah, you're right next to. Sorry, this is really real irrelevant, but you're right next to Seventh Day Slumber and Sticks.
Yes.
So
Hey, that's good company.
I'm sorry. I just like I said, it's a little casual. I just have like a autograph wall right next to me. So and that's where you're at. So you're
That's
on my wall
awesome.
of fame, I could say.
Thank you, man.
Yeah.
That's an honor.
And can you tell us a little bit about the album though? I listened to the album and I think it's one of my favorite albums of the year so far. But can you tell us a little bit about
Brother.
the album?
Yeah, so I tell people a lot. It's probably 13 or 14 years in the making. I started writing a lot of the songs. Probably half of the record has been written in the last, 10 or 15 years. And then I never really had the opportunity
Mm.
to record and put it out there. That wasn't my focus at the time. I was doing some stuff in business with Christ Center Mental Health and things like that. And just thought that I would write and people would do songs and that would be fine. I was completely content with that, man. And then I got invited to that writers retreat and we started writing songs with some of my very best friends now. And I didn't know them when we went to write, but man, we hit it off and started writing songs. And They're all very personal. It's really important for me. I don't like to sit down and write idle stuff, that like is just willy nilly. I'm gonna I think people can tell if you mean it when you say it.
Mhm.
And so a lot of my songs that I'm a part of are about my story. And I think it's a journey. It's called Revel and Wreckage because I think we've all been through a lot. And one of my favorite things about the Lord is that He promises to get glory out of really, really hard things if we allow Him to. And I may not have a story like a lot of people, but what I will say is there's been rubble and wreckage in my life, and this is God's redemption of those things in artistic form,
Mhm.
in the way of these 10 songs that kind of tell the story of mine and my family's life over the last 10 years.
I like that a lot. And for those who are wondering if they wondering what songs to check out, we have our Christian Music Bros playlist. It's on our Instagram page, or if you want to find the link and everything. And I added 3 songs from Cliff. Songs we recommend you checking out from the album. If you're just like, where do I get started? I put in When You Run, Greater Still, and Who Is Your Cross For. I put a little bit of
Yeah,
variety out there. So
thank you, man.
you're welcome. So like if anyone that wants to check out like Cliff's music, if you're wondering what it sounds like, I get a lot of Zach Williams and Corey Asbury in combination. That's where I'm going.
I've heard that.
I'm just saying I'm just talking to like the listeners right now. Just saying if they're wondering like what to listen to, where to start, this is a good starting point.
That's right. Yep. No, I think that's fair.
And then I saw you were with People's and Songs, People of Songs, People
Yeah.
and I can't think of the right wording of it. Sorry, it's like really confusing. They put two adverb or pronouns together, like or nouns together.
Yeah.
Can you
Yep.
tell us a
That's
little bit
right.
about that? And because like we had an artist, I talked to Phil King recently, and he said it was a great. I
Yeah.
just wonder how you got involved.
Yeah. So when I say I was invited to a writers retreat, Jenny Riddle, she's a wonderful lady. She wrote Revelation song. So
That's the one who
um,
Phil King brought up too. Yeah.
yeah, that's right. So she invited me to that writers retreat. And I knew Jenny, just we had met a couple of times, and she said, "Hey, I God told me you're supposed to come to a writers retreat," and I was like, "Jenny, I got a lot of stuff going on,
Mhm.
and she said, well, God told me you're supposed to come, so you have to come," and I was like, "Okay, let me talk to my wife. Maybe God talked to her." And sure enough, I talked to my wife. I said, "Hey, I'm gonna go to this writers retreat," or I said, "Jenny wants me to come to a writers retreat." And she said, "Well, you're a writer, go write." And so I went there. The People in Songs headquarters is in LaPorte, Indiana. I met 15 people. We started writing, and at the end of that week, she, reached out to me and said, "Hey, I want you to do a record. I think the world needs a Cliff Preston record, and I want you to be a part of this group." And I looked her in the eye and I said, "Jenny, I let all this die. You know the
Mhm.
the whatever it is, if people want to call it chasing that, or I said, I let all of it die." And she looked me right back in the eye and said, "Well, God's really good at resurrecting things if you allow him to." And man, when she said that, it kind of changed my life. And so if you listen to the record, you'll hear this resurrecting theme a lot because of how impactful that statement was to me. And I just decided after I talked with my wife, I said, we're gonna step back and give room for God to resurrect things if He wants to. Um, and I would say that all of this is the resurrecting His way. Sometimes we have to let things die, and we have to bury them. And when we let them die and bury them, then that's when God, it's like planting to Him. Then He can make it grow how He wants to. But People in Songs, Jenny just she kind of took me in, and at that point, nobody was, nobody was reaching out to me to do
Mhm.
anything. It was just like again, the kindness of the Lord, to bring me to her mind, and then her faithfulness to call me, and then to be honest, my wife's faithfulness to say, "Hey, go and see what God does." And so I'm really thankful for Jenny, and they've done a lot for me. Her and her husband Darren, son Daniel, and they're just wonderful people. And it's a wonderful group of artists, writers and artists, and just people and families.
It's very cool to hear just different people's point of views of everything from people's songs. Like I brought up Phil King, he was a part of it and everything. So it's just cool to
Yeah,
see like all your guys' different like point of views from like how you guys got involved with it.
yeah, that's right.
And you're obviously you just told me you're getting a tour bus right now. So speaking of tours, do you have any events
Yeah,
or tours coming up so people can come check you out, support you?
yeah. So I'm gonna be in Indiana this weekend. I'll be in Idaho at the end of the month. But our big thing is the band I'm in. So me and then the band table, the band I'm in, Stars Go Dim and Jordan St. Cyr are going on the My Foundation tour, and that starts in October. And we're going to start on the West Coast, but then we'll be all over the East Coast and the South. And so we're really pumped up about that. That starts in October, and we'll go to the weekend right before Thanksgiving. Um, and it's going to be great. If you want to check that out, you can go to jordanstcyr.com. Obviously, you can go to cliffpreston.com and check that out too,
Mhm.
thebandtable.com. But
Everything.
I'm excited about it. We went on tour with Stars Go Dim in the spring. Last year in the fall, I was on tour with Consumed by Fire. Just there was no reason for me to be out there other than literally God's kindness and the boys of Consumed by Fire allowed me to go along, and they treated me really well. I met a ton of people, and got to do some really cool things. And all of this stuff it's honestly because of the Lord and His faithfulness, but also people like Consumed by Fire and
Mhm.
Chris Cleveland, Stars Go Dim, and Jordan St. Cyr just really kind of taking me and saying, "Hey, let's go do this thing," and we feel like you have something to say.
If you guys need extra tour dates, you guys should come to Michigan.
I think there's some stuff in the works, so I'll keep you updated.
Cool. I'm from Michigan. That's why. Brad is from Nashville. So people are like, so that's where I get confused with time zones because Brad is in Central, I'm in East. And sometimes we get an artist from like the West Coast, and it's like West Coast is like they do for like 7 time zones.
Yeah, for sure, man. I get that.
And we just have a few extra minutes with you today. We like to give our guests the floor to speak about anything on their heart or anything they want to bring up in general. It could be new music, it could be a message, and so we like to give you the floor to speak about anything you want for a minute.
Yeah, so I think the big thing for me is obviously if you don't know Jesus, he's the best thing that ever happened to me, and he's worth it, and he's better than anything. And so I would just talk to somebody that you know who knows him. And one of the big things for me too is I work a lot in Christ Center Mental Health. I believe if the body can be sick, the brain can be sick, and if the brain is sick, then people need help to be able to deal with those types of things. I also believe that as people living in a fallen world, that anything that we battle, including sickness, is are the earthly consequences of our other people's sin. Um, I have a I have a nonprofit that I started called Chasewell, and and what we do is we go and we try to help people build pay what you can mental health centers all over the country. So as this last tour we went on, we did around 20 dates, and we're going to open 8 clinics. Our goal is to get as many clinics open to get as much help to people as possible. Not only just help them with their mental health, but also show them the light of Jesus and what we do. And so you can check that out at chasewell.org. But if you're struggling today, if you feel like there's no way out and you feel like it's all over, it's not. That Jesus is the answer, and He'll meet you exactly where you are, even if it's all the way at the bottom. Um, he is really good at resurrecting things. I just want to thank you for having me. Um, and I'm willing to come and hang out anytime. I want to come to Michigan so I can take a picture on your wall of fame pointing at my record. I just appreciate everything you've
But
done for me.
you're welcome. And thank you for joining us today or me today. Braden says he hopes you're well. He says sorry he can't be here, but he hopes to catch you next time. And
Absolutely.
everyone that's tuning in, we appreciate you tuning in and listening. And make sure to check out Cliff's music. I'll tag Cliff in our Instagram posts and everything so you guys can follow his pages as well. Stay up to date with him. And we'll see you next time on the Christian Music Bros podcast. Take care, everyone.